This is the One Girl Revolution podcast, a podcast that highlights the stories of world-changing women and girls across the country. We hope that these stories inspire you, but even more so, we hope that these stories help you to see your own value, your purpose, and your power to change the world through your life. Every woman and girl is a One Girl Revolution. Hello and welcome back to the One Girl Revolution podcast. It's your girl Kate here, and I am so excited you're here. I am so thrilled about today's episode because it's a full circle moment for me, and it features someone I've admired for years, the one and only Shannon Murphy, co-host of iHeartRadio's Mojo in the Morning show. I tell this story in the episode, but it is so crazy. I have to tell you again. I actually met Shannon years and years ago when I was a sophomore in college. I was backstage at a Switchfoot concert. I was not supposed to be back there, and I don't remember exactly how I got back there, but somehow I did. And randomly, we started talking and immediately connected over being from Michigan. She grew up on Grosse Ile, and my grandparents lived there, and we bonded over our shared love of music and media. At the time, Shannon was just a few years into her radio career, and I was still trying to figure out what in the heck I wanted to do with my life. But from that moment, I followed Shannon's career, and like so many of you, I followed her on Instagram, celebrated her highs with her, mourned with her in her lows, and all the things in between. Over the years, I've listened to Shannon on the radio in Indianapolis, then in Atlanta, and of course, when she came back home to Michigan to join the Mojo in the Morning show. We even talk about that unforgettable time when she was on Regis and Kelly's show. What an incredible moment for Shannon, for her career, for her life, and honestly, for Detroit. We all freaked out when that happened and celebrated with our girl. I've loved following not only her amazing career, but also her life, because Shannon is one of those people who just radiates authenticity, kindness, and joy. She's built such a successful and long career in radio, and she is still so young. But what I love most about Shannon is that she uses her platform and her free time to do so much good in the world. She supports so many incredible causes, from the New Day Foundation, which helps families facing cancer. And by the way, she'll be performing at their celebrity lip sync battle next week, so check that out. She also volunteers with Tim Tebow's Night to Shine, which celebrates people with special needs, and countless other initiatives and organizations that uplift and empower others. In this episode, Shannon opens up about her life growing up, how she stumbled into radio, and the lessons she's learned along the way. She shares so much heart, so much wisdom, and so much real life honesty about what it's like to navigate success, motherhood, challenges, and purpose, all while staying true to who she is. This conversation is inspiring, heartfelt, and just plain fun. Shannon is a total One Girl Revolution, and I'm so grateful and so excited to share her story with you. So sit back, turn up the volume, and enjoy this powerful and joy-filled episode of the One Girl Revolution podcast, featuring the one and only Shannon Murphy. Here's my conversation with Shannon. Shannon, welcome to the One Girl Revolution podcast.
Thank you.
I am so excited to have you on. I feel like this is a long time coming because I've wanted to have you on since I started this podcast, like almost 7 years ago, which is amazing. So we've featured over 275 stories of women and girls who are changing the world. So many people that you know and are friends with. And I just felt like it was a matter of time before I had you on. But it seems like the perfect time because we just launched this campaign, Every Woman, Every Girl, talking about how every woman and every girl is a One Girl Revolution. So I feel like it's perfect time to have you on.
I do too.
So I actually want to start by before I get into your story, I want to tell you a story about I actually met you forever ago, and you will never in a million years remember, but in 2005, I was in college. You were probably just out of college. You were working in radio in Indianapolis.
Yes.
And I was at a music festival and I snuck backstage. You were backstage. And somehow, Shannon, I have no idea how we started talking because there were a ton of people around. But we connected about being from Michigan, and you were telling me about Grosse Ile, and my grandparents are from Grosse Ile. And so we had this like connection, but that was the moment that I started following your career. And so a lot of people in Michigan, they first found out about you when you joined Mojo, but I've been following you since way back in the day. So I'm like one of your OGs.
Stop. Was it Warped Tour?
It was, I couldn't tell you.
Now
I
I'm
think
so curious.
it was a Switchfoot concert.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
we were backstage at a Switchfoot
Yeah.
concert. So I don't remember. It was like maybe in Pennsylvania, one of those
Yeah.
music festivals that is no longer around.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Oh, that is so crazy. Oh
So
my
anyway, so I feel
gosh.
like it's full circle, girl, and I just feel like I've cheered you on. I know there are so many people that are
Thank you.
listening that have like cheered you on, and your success is our success, and you're such an
Thank
inspiration. So, anyways, I had to share that. I had to
you.
start off by that kind of
That is
throwback.
so darn funny. Oh my gosh.
So I had to remember like when it was. I was like, I know when was that concert?
Oh
So
yeah, that
anyways.
sounds about right. Yep.
So,
Yeah.
all right, well, let's get into your story.
Okay.
So, I want to rewind back to that little girl on Grosse Ile. I know you grew up on Grosse Ile, which for people that are listening, it's this little island that's very whimsical off of Michigan, off of Detroit. And that's where you grew up. So, I would love to hear a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and your story before you got into radio.
Yeah. So obviously we lived on Grosse Ile. And so I went through the Grosse Ile public school system, elementary, middle, high school. And it really was a very cool place to grow up because it wasn't everybody knew everybody place. And I kind of loved that. I kind of loved that. You're surrounded by water. There's one little main street of businesses. It was just very cool. And so the crazy thing is when I was at Grosse Ile High School from a freshman year on, my plan, and I'm a very type A person, I love lists and organization and plans. My plan was to go into the medical field. Pretty much my entire family, has dabbled in something in the medical field. And so that was my plan. I really wanted to be a pediatrician, but I was very involved in theater. And I remember senior year, one of my theater teachers, Mrs. Schaller, pulled me aside, and I had been applying to colleges and such. And she was like, is that really what you want to do? Or do you feel like you just thought about this for so long that that's like the path that you need to take? Like, are you going to be happy waking up every morning doing that? And it was one of those things that's kind of a gut punch because she was right. And so that was the moment I'm like, I need to do something that brings me joy. And media in general was that for me. So I thought, okay, I'll go into journalism and I'll write. I love writing. I'll do, news editorial journalism. And that was my major when I ended up going to Butler University in Indianapolis, which is really where my career started.
So, at what point did you decide to do radio? So, you're at Butler, you're going through journalism. Was there a spark moment, or were there multiple things that happened that led you to that?
Yeah, I had gone on vacation with some of my girlfriends to Disney World, and I ended up meeting Jay Towers, who in Detroit is a media legend. He's on Fox 2, he's on WNIC, and at the time he was on a station called 93.1 DRQ. And I'm like, I know your voice, I listen to you all the time. And he was like, what are you doing when you come home for the summer? Do you want to be my intern? And I thought, okay, sure. So I was his intern for a summer, and it was really fun, but really never thought this is something that I want to do. It was fun. That was kind of it. Went back to Butler for my junior year and all of my friends were studying abroad. And although I kind of regret it now, I was too scared to go overseas with them. So Butler had a program where they would set you up with an internship in Washington, D.C. And I thought, okay, I could do that. I have an uncle and aunt that live in Washington, D.C. That feels comfortable to me. And I ended up getting assigned to ABC. So I get to DC, I get my assignment, it's ABC, and I'm like, sweet, ABC News, that is amazing. It was ABC Radio. And I didn't know that until I arrived at the building the first day, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like radio again. And at that point, the industry is actually fairly small. So I did that internship and started meeting people in the business and really kind of loved it. And got back to Butler that summer, did another radio internship, and ended up getting hired part-time. at a radio station and at a radio group really in Indianapolis. So when I say I fell into this business, truly, I did not mean for this to happen, but I can't imagine doing anything else. It's all I know now. So I don't know what in the heck I would do if I wasn't doing this, because it's literally all I've done.
I love those stories because it's almost like you just put one foot in front of the other and you never knew, like, okay, where is this going? And so many of us, we try to control things, right? It's like, I want to do this on this date and do it this way and go to school for this thing. And the reality is, like, I work in PR and I never thought, similar to you, Shannon, like, I never thought that I would be in PR, but it was putting one foot in front of the other, doing work with different people, getting to know people, and then really finessing, like, okay, what are my gifts and talents, right? Because when you're 18, you have no idea what your gifts and talents are, right? Like, you might be good at theater, but what does that mean in the world if you're not going to go to be in Broadway or something?
Yes. And also just being open to things. I feel like, each turn of the path that I was on, and like you said, I mean, I had my whole life planned out at this point, and radio was not a part of it. So I was just kind of open to whatever, was being thrown in my way, and it worked out.
So you're working in radio. I know you started working when you were still in college doing morning radio. Talk about the transition back to Michigan, because I know you did a lot of things in between that and getting to be a part of the Mojo in the Morning show, but I'm sure there was a pull to come back to Michigan. How did that kind of transition happen?
So I'm going to be really honest with you. There was not a pull to come back to Michigan whatsoever.
Okay.
I was working in Indianapolis for a couple of years on a show called The Morning Mess, and our show got picked up and moved to Atlanta. And I loved Atlanta. Kate, I thought I am going to be a Georgia girl for the rest of my life. I loved it. I loved the weather. I loved the people. And I had an agent at the time. His name was Norm. He's since passed, and I love him so much. And he had about 20 clients on his client list. And one of his clients was a guy named Mojo, who I knew because I listened to Mojo in high school. And so Mojo and I met at a radio event in Atlanta and just hit it off. It was my first time that I had ever met him in person. And I just really admired what kind of show he was putting on. It was very real. It was kind of edgy. They didn't play a lot of music. It was very community based. It was very Detroit based. And so we just stayed in touch, and he became kind of a mentor to me. And then I knew our show in Atlanta was not a good fit for the radio station we were on. It was kind of a toxic situation. The host of the show was not in a good season of his life. So I was kind of miserable. And I had reached out to Mojo and asked him to critique this, like a mixtape, like a reel that I had made. And he was like, do you want to come to Detroit and work with me? I have an opening on my show, and if you're in, we'll have you. And so it became this process of going through the motions of me coming back to Detroit, which ultimately, oh my gosh, I'm so beyond happy that I'm here. My family's here. I love raising my family here. I'm going on 17 years with Mojo, so it could not have worked out better. But yeah.
Yeah, there's not a pull. I'm similar, like being in DC. I was living in DC for a bunch of years, and I was like, I mean, my family's in Michigan. That was like the only pull for me. But I was like, what's in Michigan? And then once you're here, and you know that so much, and I do as well, like Detroit is such a close-knit community that it's like you have such a great support system. And like you said, even having a family, people are just amazing here. So we're so happy to have you back. And
I'm not going anywhere now.
Yeah. You are grounded here. And everybody, I love the show and everything that you guys do. The world tells women and girls that they don't matter, that one woman, one girl can't be a revolution. But that's not true. Every woman and every girl is a one girl revolution. Join the Every Woman, Every Girl campaign today by posting a video or graphic on social media telling us why you are a one girl revolution. Tag us, collab with us on Instagram, and shout out a woman or girl who inspires you. Tell us who is a one girl revolution in your life. Together, we are lifting voices, telling stories, and reminding every woman and girl who she really is. Follow along, share your story, and be a part of the movement. Because when every woman and every girl rises, the whole world changes. Join us today at onegirlrevolution.com. That's the number onegirlrevolution.com. So talk to me about being on a morning show, because we all like listen to it. We hear all the cool things. We hear the reality, right? We hear your real stories as well. And I always appreciate how authentic you and everybody on the show are, just sharing your family life and your stories. It's so important to have those kind of outlets, because we all listen and it's like, oh, I'm not alone. I'm also going through that. Or callers call in, right? There are so many stories like that. But for people that are listening, what's it really like being on a morning show? What are the positives? What are the negatives? What are the best parts or the hardest parts?
Yeah. So the first thing I'll say is I really love the schedule, which people think I'm crazy, but I wake up at 3:30, 3:45, if I'm being honest. I get out of bed around 3:45, but my day is done usually between 12 and 1. And so then I have the whole rest of the day to, as I say, start job number 2, which is being a mom, which is the harder job. But doing the show is really fun. It really is like hanging out with, especially the group that we have right now. It's like hanging out with your friends. I know that sounds so cheesy and cliche, but it really is true. Like, we are all genuinely very close off the air. And so it's so fun to go in and spend 5.5 hours every day with people that I love so much. And that being said, you talk about being authentic and vulnerable and real and raw. That's also, it's a really fun job, but it is it's a very tough job as well. When you're going through something in your life that, even if you feel like sharing, it's hard to share it with a couple million people. Or you're not ready to share yet, and you have to like kind of stuff it in a little bit and not fake it, because I don't think any of us do that, but feel slightly inauthentic until you're ready to, open up and talk about whatever it is that you're going through. And we've all been in that situation many times over. So as fun as it is, and it truly is fun, it's definitely challenging. And it really pushes me, I know I can speak for myself, to be really secure in my identity and who I am. I think a lot of people can get lost, especially in this crazy world of social media, of like portraying themselves one way or wanting to portray themselves one way. And I'm so guilty of this too. So it's like, I always say, trying to merge like radio Shannon, the ideal Shannon, with who I really am, and making sure that that's pretty much the same girl that's being presented every single day.
Yeah, and also deciding, like, now that you have children and you have a spouse, it's like, what do you share? And even I love listening to you guys, but another show that has similar synergy is the Bobby Bones show.
Yeah.
And I love we've all like walked through so many seasons with you guys, so many difficulties through life, right? Deaths in families, divorces, relationships, having babies, raising kids. And it's got to be hard to kind of have that back and forth, figuring out like, what can I share? And then especially once kids come into it. I know Bobby just announced that his wife are having a baby, which is so exciting, but what do you share? What can you share? And so I think there's a lot of dynamics there for you to deal with, like with your own personal family, right? Because you don't want to overshare what somebody doesn't want you to share. But you're still a real person, like all of us, going through the ebbs and flow of life.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge of balancing. Like, I want to be open about things going on in my life, but also be sensitive to the fact that, for example, Wes, my husband, he doesn't get a microphone every day. So, if we're in an argument and I'm telling my side of the argument, of course, I'm telling only my side of the argument, and same thing, Lucy, my daughter, is 11 now. She's in 6th grade. She's in middle school. And so I have to be a little more careful with what I share in regards to her, because she might catch wind of it. And obviously I want to be so protective of my kids, but friends, family, the same goes for them too.
Yeah. And it's a good lesson for all of us, right? Thinking about social media. Some people kind of share every little facet of their life, but it's so important for us to like have some things that are private, that are just ours, right? That are just special to us or special to us and our family, and to not feel that push to have to share every little thing about life. I think that the social media culture has really pushed us to comment on every little thing. And it's like, no, I don't need to share that, or I don't need to comment on that. So I think all of us are kind of similarly learning that kind of ebb and flow, and what can we share and what should we share, right?
Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
Shannon, you have been obviously on radio for so long. You said 17 years with Mojo in the morning. You have had such longevity, and you're so young still. It's like amazing what you've accomplished.
You're really nice. I don't even know how old I really am.
Well, you and I are a similar age, so I'm saying that.
You know what's so funny? The other day somebody asked me how old I was, and I said 43. And then I went to the doctor on Monday, and I was looking at my chart, and it said 42-year-old female, and I'm like, oh my gosh. For like weeks now. Anyway, I'm 40. Not 40, 42. Yeah.
I'm 41, so it's perfect. Yeah. But sometimes you get like stuck in these like different ages. So anyways.
I remember always watching my mom be like, how old am I? How do you not know? And now I understand.
What year was I born, and doing the math?
Yeah, exactly.
You've like accomplished so much. What do you think has kept you grounded, and what has made you so successful, would you say, in your career?
Gosh, that's a really good question. I think what keeps me grounded is gratitude. This business is hard to navigate, and it's getting more difficult as just the landscape changes, and radio is still doing so well. Podcasting, obviously, we're a part of as well, but just being grateful to know that I am a female in radio who has had a career for as long as I've had. There's not a day goes by that I am not grateful for my career and for the team that I get to work with. I mean, Mojo is literally being inducted into the Radio Hall of Fame in 3 weeks. So that's like, to me, I really do not take that for granted. And also I think I always am trying to be better. I love constructive criticism. Our listeners are very humbling to us, which actually I appreciate most times. So definitely all of those pieces together just really kind of keep me grounded and grateful.
Humility is such an important thing, especially in this day and age. And for us to say, like, I'm always learning, I'm always growing. Like on this podcast, we talk a lot about how life has many chapters, and none of us have anything figured out, right? Until the end of your life, you are still writing your story. You can still change things. You can still be better. You can still learn. So that's such an important thing to share with our listeners.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've had so many exciting career moments, and I want to bring up, especially when you were on Regis and Kelly, because I remember when that happened, and I think you had only been in Detroit for a few years, and it was like everybody was on fire in Detroit. We were like, our girl, she's taking Detroit to New York City, and it was so incredible. And
it's crazy.
It's still so crazy to me that you were on that, and I know you've had you were on this. I saw some like Bobby Bones who I mentioned before. He did like this game show thing.
He did a game show.
Yeah. And you were on, and then you've had so many incredible interviews and so many celebrity encounters and so many incredible experiences, right? Through the show and through your work. What is the one or two that kind of stands out to you? What are like the things that you're most proud of in your career?
Yeah. I'll be honest with you, celebrity interviews, that does not faze me. Like I do not fangirl. I fangirl over the most random people. It's like, the contestant from season 12 of The Bachelor that I see backstage at the iHeartRadio Music Festival. And my co-hosts are like, that's who you are freaking out about. I just don't like the celebrity thing doesn't do it for me. Definitely. I mean, the filling in for Kelly Ripa was a very, very surreal experience. And it's so funny that you bring that up, because I was just talking to somebody about it yesterday. It comes up in my memories on social media around this time of year, because I think I did it in August, the end of August, and or maybe September. It doesn't matter. But the clips come up and I can't even watch them, Kate, because I'm like, gosh, I would do it so differently now.
You were a baby.
I was a baby. I was so nervous. I feel like I was not myself at all because I was so nervous. And I always think to myself, oh, I wish I had another chance, to do it again. And maybe that'll happen someday, who knows? But that definitely, what was the coolest about it was that I got to represent Detroit. And I was the first person to go. I think I did it on a Monday. And this entire city, the people were watching it in like movie theaters. It was wild. And it was wild. It was so neat.
It's still so cool to me. And I remember being in Detroit and yeah, all these people were doing watch parties. And now, of course, we have like the Detroit Lions are thriving. Detroit's on the map. But back then it was like anything that we could do to get Detroit on the map. And girl, you did it. You brought, and you got to meet Regis. I'm so jealous of that. Like, what a man. What a man.
Sweet. He was so sweet. We actually kept in touch for a little bit after that. But it was a cool moment for me in particular because that to me, like I love what I do. I wouldn't trade what I do to do anything else. But when people ask me like, if you could do anything, and it would be that job, it would be to do a morning TV show in New York City. Like that was just very cool.
Well, you were so great at it. It was such a cool moment. So I had to bring that up. Shannon, you have used your platform for so much good. And I think a lot of times when people have a platform like you do, being on radio or people that are on TV, they sort of just get excited about being on that platform and they love all the parties and all the different things. And I know that that's not the type of girl that you are. You really have used your platform through the years for so many good things. You're so involved in different initiatives and different organizations. I have to bring up the celebrity lip sync battle that you're doing in a couple of weeks, a couple of days here, which I'm excited. I'm going to be at that. So I cannot wait to see you.
So now we can meet for some time.
Yes, yeah. So Gina has actually been on the podcast. So I've wanted to go for years and it just worked out for me to be able to go. So I love the New Day Foundation. And
she's an amazing, amazing individual.
She is.
I'm so happy you had her on.
Yeah, she's so incredible. And, I just have such an admiration for the work that she does. And I think all of us have connections to the work that she does because New Day Foundation, they help families that are going through cancer treatment and, it looks a lot of different ways for different people and different families. So it's incredible what they do. You're also really involved in Night to Shine. I feel like every year you're a part of that in some way. And then through Mojo, you guys do so much, like the breaking and entering Christmas Wish is like one of my favorite things that you guys do. But what has made you want to do good through your platform? Or is it just something that it's innate in you and you just were like, I'm just going to do good things because I have the opportunity to?
Honestly, it brings me so much joy to give back and to help other people. And I feel like that sounds so like, I don't know, a certain way, but it brings me so much joy to do those events and to help where I can. And I honestly feel like I want to do more. I feel like I need to do more because I do have this incredible platform. And it fills my heart so much to do those things. I also think that, circling back to something you said at the beginning of the podcast of sometimes I get really hard on myself of like, you need to be doing more, you need to be doing more. And I fail to realize that even us going in every morning and doing a show and sharing what is the reality of what is happening in our lives is actually very helpful to a lot of people. And even on the days when it's not something that's earth shattering or, warm and fuzzy that we're sharing and it's just something funny. We've had countless people call in and talk about, you guys were the laugh that I needed on my way to chemotherapy or, and I don't think about that. So, I feel like I could be doing more. I want to do more. I'm like waiting for an opportunity to like fall in my lap. Like I need to do something. I feel like something's on the horizon, something big. I don't know what it is yet, Kate. But I
can't wait to find out what it is. But it's also just so true, Shannon, to think about all of our lives, right? You are so busy with your family and life, and it's so beautiful to hear you say, I want to do more, because I think that's something that I think about. It's like, am I doing enough? What else can I do? But it's so important for us to be so present in our lives and even in our careers, right? Because we're also serving people and helping people through just our like 9 to 5 or whatever regular job
Yeah.
you have. Like I think about, I did a video the other day just about talking about like the little things that we do, right? Like somebody who's at the drive-through at Taco Bell and they smile at somebody, or, we all can do something. And we think in this world that we have to do something really big, right? Like start a business or start an organization or a foundation. But sometimes it's those little things. Sometimes it's just
You're
showing
right.
up for night to shine or being there for other people or just being present in our own lives or our own career that can have a massive effect too.
For sure. For sure. Yeah.
Shannon, so thinking about radio, and it could be radio or career or life, but is there a listener story or a memory or maybe something that you've participated in that remind you of why you do what you do every single day? And it could be something you volunteered for, or it could be a listener story. There are so many, I'm sure. 17 years, girl, and just at Mojo, I'm sure there are so many
Yeah.
stories that just kind of help you to realize the impact that you're having.
Oh gosh. Yeah. I mean, this one that comes to mind because it's very recent is maybe 12 years ago. I met this girl came into the studio and she had a bald head and she was battling leukemia. Um, and her name's Mallory. And I just like her and I clicked and we formed this friendship. Like, we would talk every so often. And fast forward to a couple of weeks ago, she's now running the Blood Cancer United chapter for Southeastern Michigan. And now I host all of these events for her, and she's cancer free. And so I think about just people that I've met over the years that they think that I've impacted their life, but they have very much impacted my life. And to me, that's the coolest part of this job, for sure.
Yeah, those little things, those little stories, those little encounters, and we never know on a daily basis. It's so important for us to like keep our eyes open because you never know who might be put in your path or something like that. With this girl comes into the studio and just that you're able to connect and amazing that she's cancer free. I mean, those stories of children with cancer like just
Yeah,
are gut wrenching to me, and I love hearing those positive stories of children who have overcome it. But now she's doing so much good. It's so
I know.
incredible. So Shannon, like thinking about your career, thinking about your life, what would you say you are most proud of? And I want to think, I imagine that it's probably your children
My
because they're
kids. Yeah.
beautiful and I love you sharing stories about
Yeah.
them, and they're just such little beacons of light, such little sparks in this world. But what would you say you're most proud of?
I mean, aside from my kids, because truly I look at them and they're my two little favorite people in the whole world. And I'm really proud of how I've helped shape them. That aside, I think that I would say I am most proud of putting myself back together after just a lot of situations that were kind of yuck, and I like really broke me. And I took those opportunities to really look inward and do some hard work on myself. And so I would say I'm just actually really proud of the journey of trying to figure out who in the heck I am and be that person. And it is a journey that continues every single day. But just like doing that work for myself is something that I'm very, very proud of.
Yeah, you've been through so much. All of us have, and I love these stories of resilience, right? Women don't realize how strong we are until we go through those really difficult, trying times in life. And they continue on throughout our whole lives, right? It's not like, cool, I've like jumped over the mountain. No, then the next mountain comes, and it's all making us who we were created to be. It's helping us become stronger and
Yeah,
more resilient and see our gifts and talents in ways that we never imagined. And I'm sure that's what you
for
experienced.
sure. Yep. Yep.
Every woman, every girl. The world tells them they don't matter, but we know the truth. Every woman and every girl is a one girl revolution. Through the Every Woman, Every Girl campaign, we're telling powerful stories, lifting voices, and reminding women and girls everywhere of their worth, their purpose, and the power that they hold to change the world. But we can't do it without you. Your donation helps us share more stories, reach more women and girls, and change more lives. Join the movement today. Support the campaign. Donate at onegirlrevolution.com/donate. That's the number onegirlrevolution.com/donate. Because when every woman and every girl rises, the whole world changes. So, Shannon, when you're thinking about women and girls who are out there, I want you to speak to them for a minute. What advice would you give to women and girls who have a dream? Maybe they have a dream in radio or TV, or maybe they want to be a teacher, maybe they want to get into the medical field. Whatever their dream is, what advice would you give to them?
Persevere. And I say that because when I was first trying to get internships and get jobs and really start my career, I feel like I was met with silence or no's or just ghosted so many times over. And I was like, nope, I am not letting this happen. And I just kept going. So that's definitely a big one for me is you could be met with 20 no's, but somebody's going to say yes on that 21st time. And that's going to be your foot in the door. Also, I think one big lesson that I have learned, not just in my career, but in my personal life as well, is I used to, and still do, but I'm definitely working on this, care so much about what other people thought of me or what I was doing or what career path I chose. And I think I let it mess with my brain a little bit and almost alter the direction I was going and what my goals were. And it's like, if you have a goal, if you know where you're headed, let those voices quiet, diminish them. Because like there are a few people who I surround myself with that I really care about what they think about me. Everybody else, it's hard to say this, but I really, truly try not to care. I am a people pleaser, which I've learned about myself. And it's hard to just navigate life in general, being a people pleaser, but also to navigate a career that's in the public eye. But I mean, I say that to my daughter all the time at 11 years old, like really just focus on you and try not to let what other people say about you or think about you or what you think they're thinking about you affect where you're going.
Yeah, it's so important to build your tribe and know like who you want to take advice from and who you don't, or who you want to hear
Right.
and who you don't. And it is hard with social media and all these different connections, right? All of us have we're more connected than ever, but we have so many voices. And I can't even imagine Lucy and children, right, going through that. What we're going through as adults, we can learn how to build these parameters and boundaries with people.
Boundary.
But
Yeah, I was
for
gonna say
kids,
boundaries is
it's
such a big word.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's so important for us to teach even kids how to do that, to say, don't listen to that person. Like, who are they anyways? Like, they don't know what they're talking about, and
right.
really kind of build on that for girls as well.
Yeah.
So what about for people, women and girls specifically, since this podcast is the One Girl Revolution podcast? What about for women and girls who don't know what their dream is or who don't know what their purpose is? I think that purpose is so important. Like when we know what, even if it's just a little thing, right? Okay, I have this job or I'm working in radio or whatever it is, it kind of gives you a little bit more depth and strength and meaning and purpose can like help drive your life. And so I do think that there is a crisis for women and girls in the world not knowing what that purpose is. And even the women who, you know, were stay-at-home moms and now they're like, okay, my kids went off to school. And like, now what? What is
Me
my
too.
purpose? So
Yeah.
what about those women and girls that don't know what their purpose is or don't know what their dream is? Would you have any advice for them?
So I'm a big Jesus fan, and I definitely think that praying and letting him tell you what your purpose is a big piece of that. I also think like I go back to what Mrs. Schaller said to me in the hallway of Grosse Ile High School. what brings you joy? Like, what makes you happy? And I think that, you know, following whatever that may be and just drowning out the noise as you try to pursue it, hopefully will lead you to a place where, you know, where you want to be, where you need to be, where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, it's so important to quiet those voices and figure out like, well, okay, who is the voice to listen to and dig down inside and
And
figure
really, the
out what
voice
it
is
is.
you.
Hmm.
It's you. The voice is you.
Yes.
Man, I wish I would, and not that I have many regrets at all, but your intuition, your gut, like when you're hearing something, it is 99.999% right on.
Especially women. I had a
Yes.
security expert on, Shannon, a couple of weeks ago talking about, and it was one of the first men we've ever had on the podcast, but he was talking about personal security for women, like walking to your car. What do you do? Like if somebody approaches you, like how do you protect yourself? Or you're walking out to your car with groceries and you have your kids with you, like. And he talked about how women and their intuition, right, on these things that you're talking about, like finding your purpose, but
Yep.
also like protecting ourselves in real life situations. It's like women don't trust their intuition. So shout out to the girls. Listen to your intuition. Whatever you're feeling, go with
Yes.
it because we were gifted with that.
Yeah. Do not try to talk yourself out of whatever your gut is telling you. Every time I've done that, every time I have regretted it.
Right. Every time. So Shannon, I got to tell you about One Girl Revolution. So I started One Girl Revolution because I work in PR and media, worked in DC, and I started it because I was frustrated by the fact that women's voices and their stories weren't often told in the media. And I was watching TV and pitching stories, and especially these stories of world changers like yourself, like Gina that we mentioned earlier. You know, everything is always like politicized and divisive when it comes to women and girls. And
Yeah.
when I moved back to Detroit, I was reading a book about the city of Detroit, and there are two phrases, as I'm sure you know. I had never paid attention to it. I had seen the flag, but I had never noticed that there were two phrases. It will rise from the ashes, and there is always hope. And at that moment, I was like, oh my gosh, that's what One Girl Revolution is. Women are so resilient. Women have so much hope. They're beacons of light to the world. And so to me, like that's what One Girl Revolution stands for. That's what it represents. That's what I'm always looking for in stories is like women and girls who have been through hell and back and now they're doing incredible things and making some sort of social impact and making the world a better place. But when you hear the term One Girl Revolution, what does that mean to you?
Oh, that's a great question, Kate. I think that, I mean, when you talk about purpose, that I think we all have the potential in us to create big things, whether it's change, whether it's, you know, giving back to a community, whether it's creating some sort of scientific, you can tell I'm not a science person, scientific something. I just feel like everybody can contribute somehow. And you may think it's small, but it's probably not. Like we all have something to offer. We absolutely do.
We do. And every single woman and every single girl is a one girl revolution, even if they don't see it, that we have the power to change the world. Shannon, I want to know who is a one girl revolution in your life. There are so many, I'm sure. Obviously, Lucy is. Well, shout out Lucy, one girl revolution, but who is a one girl revolution in your
You
life?
know who I would say? I would say Gina. And Gina is always my answer to this question because I love her. If you so the woman that we're speaking of heads up an organization called the New Day Foundation, and she does incredible things. But just as a human being, as a friend, as a mom, as a wife, as a person in this community, I so look up to Gina. And she's just like fun and like all over the place and big when you meet her. And she doesn't even realize the impact that she has on our community, on people, on me individually. Like I look up to her so much. I always tell her that and she's like, "Are you crazy?" But she to me is just a spectacular human being that I am absolutely honored to call her my friend.
She's so amazing. And I will link her episode of the One Girl Revolution podcast in the show notes. If people want to learn more about Gina, they can go back and listen. But her story is incredible. And the work that she's doing is so amazing. I can't wait for the lip sync battle. And I can't wait to cheer you on and cheer everybody else who's going to be a part of it and support her, obviously.
Yes.
Shannon, I will put all of your social media links so people can get in touch with you and follow everything that you're doing. What's next for you? What do you have coming up in life, in career? Is there anything that you want to share?
So I don't know if I'm supposed to be sharing this yet. I will be a part of the Mojo in the Morning show I'm about to extend my contract. So
Great.
that is like really huge news for me. And I, again, am so grateful. So that's like a process that I'm going through right now that I am really, really, really happy about. Honestly, just trying to survive my children in a middle schooler, which actually middle school's been phenomenal for her. And then Smith, my little guy, is in second grade. They keep me really busy, Kate. Like the calendar on my phone is all of their activities. Very few of them actually are mine. So really just honestly enjoying this stage of being a mom. Like I soak in everything I can, even like the nights when I feel like I'm just an Uber driver, taking them from activity to activity. I like really enjoy getting quality time with them. And yeah, so, and obviously, you know, I got married a year ago. And so blending families is we're still in the process of that. And that's really exciting and also very challenging. I'm not going to sugarcoat. And so, yeah, like that's my life right now.
Well, you're doing it, and I love following everything that you guys have going on. And I'm so excited to be connected in this new way. I'm so excited to have you on the podcast. And like I said, I will put all of the links for people to follow your great work. I will put the link for people to listen to the Mojo in the Morning show. If they're not here in Detroit, if they're not familiar with the work that you're doing, they can check it out. I know I love following it listening on the iHeartRadio app, so people can do that. But Shannon, before I let you go, I always end this podcast on one question. So I'd like to ask you, if you could leave women and girls around the world with one message, what would it be?
Oh, my message would be kind of similar to what I said before. The most important voice that matters in this whole entire world is yours. And in an age where we are so influenced by social media, especially, but media in general, just really make sure that your voice is the loudest one that's guiding you when you wake up every single day.
Shannon, you are such an example of that. I can't wait to continue to stay in touch with you and follow everything that you're doing. Thank you so much for being on the One Girl Revolution podcast. Thank you for everything that you do, and thank you for everything that you are.
Thank you, Kate. And I will see you in a couple days.
Yay! For more from One Girl Revolution, to listen to all of our podcast episodes, watch our Emmy-nominated documentary series, follow us on social media, donate to our nonprofit organization, and more, please visit onegirlrevolution.com. That's the number onegirlrevolution.com.